welcome everyone. Episode 27 of the MEE-FIT podcast. I have a guest with me today who is usually on the other end of the camera. So our videographer Callum is going to be joining me today, and we've done an intro and an insight into all the other teams. So we thought it was about time we had Callum on the receiving end of what he puts everyone else through here at MEE-FIT in terms of sharing our social content. So we're going to be chatting just about Callum, like what's brought him here to MEE-FIT, his role here now, his interest and journey in fitness, and just a bit of a get to know Callum that I think hopefully will help people learn about Callum a little bit more. Some members here know him quite well, others less so, depending on what time of day they come and things like that. And it might help people feel a little bit warmer when Callum comes over to them and not petrified.
Rather than filled with dread.
Filled with dread that the camera is out. So welcome, Callum. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your day today to join me on the podcast.
Weird to be on the other side.
Do you want to give everyone a bit of an insight into yourself, a bit of information about yourself, who you are, what you do, and why you're here?
Okay. I'm Carl. I'm 29. I am the videographer / social media / marketing manager for MEE-FIT. Have been for, what are we now? A little over a year.
Yeah.
Was doing some part-time stuff beforehand, but on board in a more full-time capacity now, which is much more fun. Previously to coming here, which I don't really keep a secret, I was not a fitness guy at all. Never really been into it. PE was a chore. Yeah, not really much of an exercise guy when it came to that, but obviously that's a bit different now. I've been working here for a long time. What brought me to MEE-FIT? Well, I'm sure we'll go into it at some point.
Well, give people a bit of a background of your training, like what, in terms of professionally, like what led you to this point?
So my background is in film and TV production. That's what my degree's in. Goes back to when I went to college. I did a media production course there as one of my A-levels, along with psychology and sociology and English lit, because I'm a bit of a bookworm as well. But that sort of made me go into a transition of, okay, I like films. Okay, I really like films in an academic sense as well as an enjoyment thing. And then when I came to university, that was where I was going. It was a non-negotiable for me. So yeah, film and TV was where it was at. I was a little bit more interested in like the behind the scenes stuff, so the production, the writing, editing, which I wasn't super great at now. I feel like I'm probably a better editor now than when I was being educated by people. But yeah, anyone who's seen the feed will know what my editing style looks like now.
Yeah, cool. So obviously, from our perspective, like at that time, we were looking for someone to help us with our marketing, our production of content and stuff. And obviously, we kind of we got to know each other a little bit through Emily, who is one of our coaches here. So yeah, give us a bit of an insight into that. You've obviously known Emily for a long time.
Me and Em met when we were 3 at preschool. So to say that you've known someone for 26 years and been pretty much as close as we have now, it's pretty nuts.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, it came about, we were going on a night out. She was like, "You do videos, don't you?" I was like, "Yeah, where's this going?" "Well, Dan's looking for someone. Would you fancy giving it a go?" Yeah, why not? But I'd known that Em had obviously gone through that transition in her fitness journey. And at that point where I was in my life, I was like, I should probably be doing something a little bit more. I'd just gone from, how long are we going to go back? Probably about 3 or 4 years ago, I'd started dabbling in running, which is what you always hear people say, "Oh, I need to do something, let's do some running."
Yeah.
I was doing like 2 runs a week, one of them being park run on a Saturday, and then COVID came. And at the start of COVID, literally the week we got put in lockdown, I got T-boned in a traffic accident. My leg was in a brace for 3 months and basically did a lot of damage. My kneecap went into my thigh and strained some ligaments on the way, and it was not fun. But then I was like, right, well, I can't do anything now. Which is a story, having worked here for over a year, I've heard quite a few times.
Yeah.
Em said, "Fancy giving it a go? I had a chat with yourself.
Yeah.
Let's do some stuff. Do you fancy a gym membership? I'll give it a try, see what I can get out of it."
Yeah.
I think at the time I was possibly the heaviest I'd ever been and the weakest I've ever been.
So when was that when you first started coming here as a client? Just remind me.
Jesus, when would that have been? So probably it was August, so it's nearly 3 years, I think.
Yeah. So
2023.
So that'd be 2
years. 2022, 2023, something like that.
Yeah.
Because it was before we found out Tish was pregnant with Ivy. So yeah.
So you came and did some training with us as a client, and then obviously Em kind of spoke to you about the possibility of doing some, and we started just doing some.
It was just a 1 day a week, and it was you needed a campaign doing, and it was cram everything into that one day, get as much done as physically possible. Yeah. Which, in hindsight, not the best way to film things.
No, I mean it kind of served its purpose for a little while, didn't it? So going back to you then, in terms of your fitness, like you mentioned obviously you had the pretty bad accident which set you back in terms of your fitness, and obviously that starting process. But then what was then the journey after that, I suppose, up until now, really? Like, how's it gone from a fitness perspective for yourself?
Oh Christ. So I had dabbled in gym work. There was one at uni that I went into probably once a month, if that. And I went with the lads I live with. We do whatever we fancied and crack on. So I come here and I'm like, right, okay, this is small group, okay, right, let's give that a go. Right, it's PT as well. Never had a PT before. First session was with them. I'm like, Jesus Christ, she's going to kill me, just because I know what she's like. But it's not, for me, it was never just like, obviously having coaches and telling me what you're doing is fantastic, because I know my form's still abysmal when I do things now. Like, even when I train independently of the group, if you're in the session, you're like, what are you doing? And it works, it always has. But the guidance and the encouragement led me to go, oh, I found a sport, or, well, say sport, something physically that I enjoy and I can see myself getting good at. So that, to me, I was like, right, okay, I'm in. Sign me up. And then when I first started as a client, I was working somewhere else. I was doing a 9 to 5 in an office. So I came here for 7, trained with everyone at 7, got showered, went to work. Worked perfectly for me then. And to be honest, I still do the same now, but I just trained a little bit later. So I got to know a group of people, and there's that expectation from them. If you miss a session, like, everything all right? Where have you been? And it's like a different level of friendship with, in my case, people that were older than my parents. Which was a weird sensation, but great.
Well, I mean, I was going to mention that because obviously you are younger than our usual client. If we think back to that time, probably even more so now than maybe then, I would say. Obviously, we've really focused ourselves in on who our target audience is, and we've really understood that even more so, I'd say, over the last couple of years. But you are younger, but in a lot of ways very similar, though, in the fact that fitness had never come naturally to you and you never really enjoyed it. Obviously, you mentioned PE, didn't enjoy that, weren't overly sporty in any way, and it was only at a later point in life that you've then found an enjoyment for something physical, like you said. So although you are younger than our normal client here, like, it's still similar in a lot of ways.
I mean, the main selling point that Em managed to get me through the door with was obviously rehabilitation. So, not to knock the NHS, never would, but when I got my physio for my knee injury, it was at a time when I couldn't see one. So my physio was a sheet of A4. Go home, do that. Right, well, I don't know how to do that. No one's ever shown me. So I'll do what I think is right, and it got a little bit better. But like, there was a point when lifetime injury was thrown around. They're like, your knee's never going to be 100%. But you can train around it, you can get better. So that kind of is what brought me in. And it's just, it has helped. My knee is not as awful as it used to be.
I agree with that, because I think the reality is, whenever you have an injury, you go through NHS physio route. Like, their, I suppose, remit is to get you back to life. And then that's kind of like they've done their job. But then obviously for a lot of people, they want to then progress back to a sport or back to a physical activity, or be back to doing something more progressive with that body area.
I remember, like, the week I had the accident was the week I set my 5k PB. So literally, I think it was the Saturday I did my best park run ever, and then the Tuesday I got hit by the car that hit me.
Not good timing. Not good timing. But it's been, it's in a way, it's been good, because it's,
I'm a big believer
you're better off
in everything happens for a reason. I'm a massive believer in it. So, in the weirdest hindsight ever, if I hadn't got hit by that car, I wouldn't be doing a job that I love. And in my field, which in where we live is not the easiest field or industry to get into.
Not at all.
So I've kind of landed running with this one, to be honest. But that's what's got me here so far.
Good man. So in terms of your training now, then, so what does that look like? What's your goals? What are you working towards? What do you typically do?
Okay, so where are we now? We are nearly 3 years into me training. I would say probably for the first 18 months I just did the program that everyone else does downstairs. Then I spoke to Tommy. I wanted to look at maybe I liken myself to Tommy in this, in that when I was younger, I could not keep weight on for the life of me.
Yeah.
So when I came here, I was like, right, I want to gain muscle. So I want to bulk. So Tommy set me up with like a bit of a different plan on both nutrition and physicality. Got to that. And then sort of the start of last year, I then went into a big cut phase because I was getting married. And everyone always does. They need an occasion. I want to be slim. So went into that. Training changed accordingly. And then shortly after I got married, Em was like, should we do a comp? I was like, if you think for the life of me that I'm going to be able to do a comp, but no, she convinced me to do it. So this year has literally been an individual plan, which we've kind of all helped each other do stuff over the years since I've been here. All focused on getting my body ready for athletics. Because a lot of that movement is alien to me, stuff I hadn't done before, and I'm like to challenge.
Nice. So just a couple of points there I'll mention. So obviously you mentioned working with Tommy on the muscle building. So I'm presuming with that, the focus was a little bit more just particular body areas. And obviously our small group PT program is full body and also includes some cardiovascular fitness, some more like functional activities, which are brilliant for general flexibility and mobility and life, but they're not as specific for muscle building purposes. So that's why you probably would have gone down that route.
And when I came here, I had no idea about nutrition. I found out when I was 21 I was gluten and dairy intolerant. So for 21 years I've just been eating whatever I wanted, and then became very mindful of what I was eating because I was scared it was going to hurt. And then Tommy sort of educated me on a way that rather than excluding things, there's other things I can include to sort of balance that out. So protein was nothing I was really familiar with. Obviously, when you are thinner and you want to build muscle, you need to put a bit of weight on first. So I had to find ways to get more calories in a way that wasn't going to hurt my system. I remember when I talked to you about it as well, and I'd be sat there with a litre of like Halpro chocolate milk because it's the only way I could get the calories in for the day. But that, he was very helpful with that, and he still is now. All the teams, we like I say, we still all help each other with stuff.
Absolutely, it's a team effort, isn't it, to do these things? So then, obviously, you mentioned wedding, got married in 2024. So you've had 1 year anniversary recently. Over at the Cumbermere Abbey, where we've been for our Christmas party recently.
Which is literally twice in the same year. Two very different kinds of do for me. But I say married for a year, but me and my wife will have been 10 years this year, which is crazy to say. Time flies.
Good. Nice to hear. And this year then, obviously you mentioned the comp prep. So AFEX is the competition that you guys are doing. Me and Brogan, my sister-in-law, are doing it the same
one, same time. So
that's going to be fun.
I'm going to see you guys go, probably, but
that's going to be fun. How's your experience been with that in terms of how have you felt having something to work towards specifically? Because I think that's something that a lot of people here often do and like to have a set goal or something to strive towards. How have you felt with that?
I think goal-based training is incredible for me, just because it works for me. I am very competitive, which I found out is a lot worse when I'm training. So if I haven't got something to work towards, I almost feel like I'm going to stagnate and just sit. But the weirdest thing for me about the whole thing is, before I started training, and I used to go to people like, oh, you're a gym person. I'd be like, look at me. I'm obviously not. Whereas now I'm like, well, obviously, look at me. Do you know what I mean? So that having that confidence of when Em first said, do you want to do a comp? I was like, no. Not at all. Now I'm like, we're going to smash it. I know we will. There's areas where Em's stronger, areas where I'm stronger. And I know that I don't think I could do it on my own. Like when we did Charlotte's episode the other week, you talk about when you went and did NFG on your own, not a chance. Not yet. Maybe down the line, but not for me. No,
it takes a lot of the, in my experience, a lot of the enjoyment was gone from it when I did that. Like I think the thing that I've enjoyed about the competitions we've done here over the years and I've done with other people that I know, it's the teamwork, it's the energy, it's the camaraderie, it's the encouraging each other. I felt, well, I know Charlotte was the same. I mean, she obviously feels a bit different now doing high rocks on her own. She's clearly got that. But when she did the NFG with me that I did alone, I lost a lot of that. It felt very isolated. You had a bit of banter and stuff with the other competitors, but it didn't have the same. I didn't enjoy it. And I do these things for enjoyment and something to work towards. Like you've said, it's not for any want of wanting to or feeling really like I'm ever going to win. It's just about having a challenge, isn't it? And having something to work towards.
And I'm doing it with one of your best mates, which is just going to be chaos.
Cool.
I know it's going to be chaos.
Imagine if you and Em could go back to like 12, 13 years old and tell each other that you're going to be doing a fitness competition together. You definitely wouldn't have believed it.
No, note for myself, if I remember, find a picture of me and Em when we were 14 and you will not believe that it's us. I had massive frizzy hair and I was about probably stick thin, God knows.
I remember you at school.
It was
so I was 2 years above you at school.
3
years,
because I'm what, 29 and you're 30.
I'm 32 this year. Yeah.
So
I remember you.
I was probably one of the. You look at him and go, "Fucking hell, look at that dorky kid."
Not going to say anything.
You can neither confirm nor deny.
Yeah.
But I'm massively excited for it. Where I was filled with dread, and that's a new experience for me, but something I'm loving as well.
Yeah. But I think the reason it's so beneficial, and I wouldn't say we push people here towards them, but we do encourage as and when we feel it's appropriate, because I think for a lot of people, just training for health and longevity and wellness can feel a little bit monotonous maybe. You lose a little bit of focus. It's easy to miss sessions because you've not got anything. Do you know what I mean? Like I think when people have got something very specific they're working towards, I think it definitely does with me, and I know with yourself and other people, it really narrows down their focus of training a lot.
Yeah, I completely get that. But for some people that'll work.
Yeah.
I'm not one of them. I always have my brains always going, so I need to be working towards something specific, like we've said. But I can see how it could quite quickly become monotonous.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people here, we talk about these things because a lot of the team are involved in them, as you know. Em's done them, Claire's done them, I've done them. Marcus.
But people also want to do it with you guys.
Yeah.
Like when I said, because I've done 2 10Ks this year as well.
Yeah.
Another thing I never thought I'd do. I told people that I was doing the market training 10K. We've got members here from which I was training, wherever. And the amount of them are like, well, I'll make sure I see you.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't going, now I've signed up.
Yeah.
And it's people that I see early in the morning, people I see in the afternoon. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh, someone from the gym's going. Right, I'm going, and I'm going to find them.
Yeah.
And if I see them at the end, class.
Yeah.
But there's always, even with the Whitchurch one as well, it's, oh, we're doing it. Are you? Everyone goes around and asking.
Yeah.
I think that's why, especially with these comps and stuff, like people see them as these big barriers, like, oh no, I could never do that. But then when it's their coach that they get on with, or if they see I'm going to go and do it, they're like, oh, maybe then, because I've seen you progress, maybe I can progress too.
Yeah.
Especially with like, I think when we use Em as an example a lot all the time, and I will because I know her the best. When she went from, because I know where she was when she started, and now she's telling people like, oh, I'm doing 3 comps, 4 comps, 5 comps this year. They're like, well, I'll book them too. Yeah. Because we've seen you change, so we can change too. Yeah, and I just think it's class.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's good. It's nice to see. It's good to see people who've typically never envisaged themselves in that type of environment actually stepping out of their comfort zone and going into something that's really very different, but very rewarding and a big challenge and a big achievement. I think it's good to see. So let's shift a little bit to your professional life now. Okay. Now you're here with us, obviously. Run people through, like what's your role? What do you do on a day-to-day basis? Like give people a bit of an insight into what a videographer in a coach-led training gym looks like.
Summarise my job. I do all sorts of random bits and bobs. But I remember we did a post when I started, and you asked me what the thing I was most looking forward to about my job.
Yeah.
And I said then, which I would still say now, is sharing other people's stories. Because yes, I've got my story, you've got your story, but so's everyone else that's here. And I think that is probably the most fulfilling part of my job, is hearing people say how they were, how they are now, what they love, what they hated, what they struggled with, all that sort of stuff. So that's probably one of my favourite parts, whether that's through the podcast or the testimonials that everyone that's watching will see every week, if they like them. If they don't, they're still there. But the bit of my job that I'm starting to learn more and enjoy more is sort of the marketing aspect of it, which is something I, again, never thought I'd end up doing, but it's something I'm learning on the job and enjoying more. Sort of speaking to people to break those barriers down, to get someone from I'm not a gym person to this is my gym. That's kind of one of the bits I love about my job. So it's basically my job working with you to have this concept, find out how we talk to those people, how we get them to come around to let's have a chat. We want to help you. Let us help you.
Yeah.
That will then involve the admin side of that for me, which is creating scripts, planning when we're going to shoot the video, shooting the videos themselves, editing, crafting all the ads that we put up through Facebook, Instagram, maybe Google if we get there soon. And just trying to get the MEE-FIT message out to people to be like, you can be a gym person. It's not an issue, whether you're 87 or 27, whatever. Yeah. And I do find that quite fulfilling now, and I love it.
Good. Yeah, I mean, it's something that we've spoke a lot over the years about in terms of, it's like so for anyone who doesn't know, like prior to Callum being here, I used to do all of our socials pretty much. I'd get the team involved in some videos and obviously they would be involved in that, but I was doing the capturing, the editing, the posting, all of the bits that you now do, thinking about the content, planning the content and stuff. But, I got to a point where I'm thinking, like, this isn't my area of expertise. I don't really know what I'm doing above the very basic editing and filming. And do you know what I mean? And we felt that with where we want to go with the business and the impact we want to have, we felt it was the right time to involve someone who's better at that, who can produce better content more consistently, more regularly. Because I think one of the big problems we used to have with it was really sporadic, because it was another job that I had on my list of things, and it sometimes got pushed back and things got missed, and we'd go sometimes a week or so without any content, and I'm scrambling thinking, oh God, we've not posted in a while, and things like that. So we felt it was time to kind of be like, right, we want to take this a little bit more seriously. We want to have someone designated to that part of the business, because the unfortunate reality is this is a business that we have to do marketing. Like, we just can't not, it's and I think it's a bit, I don't know, I think sometimes you feel a bit uneasy with it because it seems very businessy and very corporate and all marketing and adverts and stuff, but unfortunately we've got to put ourselves
personal out of it, doesn't it?
A little bit, but we've got to think past that and think, well, our job really is to find people who are local to us who would potentially be able to change their life if they see our message, they hear our message, they hear the testimonials that you captured, they hear from the team in terms of what we're all about, how we can help. And like you said, take people who've usually not really been fitness people, never really been in a gym, to a point of actually getting started up with us and potentially changing their life. That's, I suppose,
that's my favourite bit.
That's the power in what we do, and we have to put time and effort into it, else it doesn't happen on its own, unfortunately.
Yeah, I was talking to someone last week. Testimonial's not out yet because I'm a little bit ahead. But even out of, say, probably the last 10 I've done, I would say 6 of them had said prior, we've been on their radar, they'd seen the ads. Yeah. It took months, years for some of them. Like you did a post recently with Andrea where she took 4 years, But if we didn't put that message out there, and if we didn't consistently put that message out there, that person would have gone, might have been one more ad and they'd have gone, right, I'm in. Yeah. So for me, yes, it is a little bit corporate and a little bit, but without that relentlessness, how can we say we've done our best to help someone, sort of thing?
Well, we did a similar post, didn't we, about the sales side of it? Yes. I know Callum's not involved in the sales. That's still my area of the business, is to take someone from when Callum's done his job, which is take the person from
people.
Like from people who may be interested to actually reaching out, whether they go on our website or they send an email or they ring or whatever. That for me is then you've done your role in terms of getting them to put their hand up and say, yes, I could be interested in this. My job is then to help them
get them through the door.
Get through the door, because that's the hardest bit. We say that to people all the time, don't we? Like, the hardest bit is actually stepping through the door for the first time and admitting that you need help. And that's, I suppose, where I come in. But again, like, people think of sales and they think
car salesman,
sleazy. Yeah, absolutely. Don't want any of that. But unfortunately, again, the reality is that most people we've worked with, they're probably not going to join a gym without
a nudge
in the right direction and understanding more about why it's different, why it'll be for them. So that's what our sales process is. It's not particularly salesy. It's more just, can we understand more about you? Can we understand, what your challenges are and what the issues are you're facing? Can we help? And then here's how we help. How does that sound to you? And often it's like, oh, that sounds quite nice, actually.
We're talking about that earlier on in the day. Like, when you get a gym membership, it's so difficult to just go, I'm going to buy something without seeing it.
Yeah.
Because you had someone in today for a walk around, don't mind me saying.
Yeah.
But to me, that's such a cool thing. Like, so many places would just be like, right, okay, this is what it is. Do you want it? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Whereas you're like, if someone ever says, oh, I'm not sure, can I come and have a look around? You're like, yeah, we're all here.
Yeah.
Let's show you what we do, how we do it, what we're about. You make sure that someone is fully informed before we're like, right, come on.
Well, I think touching back to your role, of course, is what we're meant to be talking about. Like, your role, I suppose, a big part of it is trying to showcase why we are different than the normal gym route, you know. And so many of our members, I always think they fall into three buckets. Like, one is like someone who's never ever been to the gym, because either they've never had the inclination to do so, they felt they've never needed to do so because of work, or just, you know, or they've just never wanted to,
never
just because they just
the appeal.
think that's not for me.
Yeah.
Or two is someone who has tried gyms before and it's not worked for them in that, again, normal gym environment, which is like, here's your membership card, here's the kit, come and crack on. And then the third type of person, I suppose, is someone who is a little bit more, you know, familiar with fitness and a bit more engaged and informed, but they're fewer and far between, as you'll probably know. Like, we don't get a lot of those type of people. Most of them are usually the first two. So the reason I mention that is, like, your job, I suppose, a lot of it is to try and show those two people either why our gym is different and it'll be different from their previous experiences, or why it's important that if you've never been a gym person, that you get into a gym environment, because we see so many of our clients who've never been in that environment yet. They start with us 3 months later, they're fitter, they're stronger, they're healthier, they've got better energy, they're sleeping better, they've got more get up and go, more motivation. You know what I mean? The list is endless, isn't it, of things that people say that they're achieving. So
I remember that when I started, like, I heard people talk about energy. I was like, I'm in my 20s, I'm never going to be tired. Mental fatigue is a completely different thing. But when you work in a 9 to 5, which everyone always thinks is the most cushy job, it's that sometimes it'll be that numbing that you're like, right, I'm tired now, I just can do something else. Whereas if I trained in the morning, which even for this job now, train in the morning, I'm ready. I'm like, right, what's the day got?
A lot more alert.
I've done my session, I've got a good buzz, I've got some points, I've got competitive with some people, I've had a laugh with some of the members.
Got the endorphins flowing.
While I've still got my own program, I still train with the members downstairs in the same space. And like having a good chat, having a laugh, having some energy in the morning, and then straight into work. I'm like, right, okay, my brain's active, I'm active, let's go. What do we need? And I feel like that's such an understated benefit of fitness for me that I didn't even think about. All I thought about was, I'll put some muscle on, I'll get through it. The more physical, like, aesthetic side of it, I think, is where a lot of people, I mean, you see it, don't you? How many people are on testimonials who say, I came for fat loss, I came for weight loss. Yes, I've achieved those things. Some people do what they wanted, other times they don't. But the other side of that is, like you said, the energy, the sleep quality, the feeling of positivity and motivation that comes from being consistent with your health and fitness. It's powerful. It's very powerful. Energy's even more important for me now, being a dad of a little one.
Well, let's talk about that then, actually, a little bit. A bit more of a, insight into your personal life.
Okay, let's. So, God, we need to frame this a little bit. So, earlier on, I mentioned that I used my wife being pregnant as a time discrepancy. We unfortunately lost our first baby, which is also the reason why we're doing the 3 peaks this year, which I'll get to in a little bit. We found out we were expecting our little boy, 5 weeks before we were due to get married. So we were kind of like, shit, you can't have any of the cocktails, you can't have any of the drinks. I'll have less because I feel bad if I'm hammered and you're not. So we kept that little secret from everyone. And then in November last year, Ezra arrived, a little bundle of joy that he is. And sleep is tough when you've got no energy. So finding that time and having a partner that's also into fitness, like I said, I was never a fitness person. Me coming here has not just infected me. My mum's a member. My wife is a member. We both come and train on a Saturday together for the big team group. She's still off on maternity at the minute, so she trains at different times to me. But having that time away is great because everyone needs it. I'd obviously love to spend 24 hours with him every single day if I could, but there's moments when you need a little breather. Having that energy he's not really that mobile yet, but be with him as much as he needs is great for me. And I think we're very close to crawling now, so God, I'm going to need it to chase after him. And obviously I've seen what you're like with your boys and now Harley. And I know that I want to be, this is my stupid one. Claire's going to love this. Emma will love it as well. So anyone who doesn't know, Claire's big on knowing your why. My why for me is silly, it's funny, and it's why I do it. I want to be the answer to my dad could beat up your dad when they go to school. It's stupid. Yeah. Or my dad's stronger than your dad. Yeah. Don't care. That's what it needs to be.
It's a driver,
and
isn't
it is. It's so silly, but it's been in the back of my head. And I know my dad's the same. And I've chatted with him recently because my dad at 51 has decided he wants to get into strongman training. God knows why. He's thrown his back out probably 5 times in the last 10 years, but we'll see how he gets on. But I know that my little brother looks at that and goes, right, I want to go boxing. I want to do some lifting. My little sister's on track to do bloody Olympic boxing at this point, and she's 13.
No, it's powerful, isn't it? I think, you know, as a parent, like, you want to set, I know I felt this way, you want to set a really good example to your kids. You want your kids to grow up in an environment where fitness and physical activity and health is something that is just part and parcel of life, and isn't something that, you know, gets ignored or gets pushed back. And, you know, you mentioned the time, like, I'd love to not train and spend that 4 or 5 hours a week that I train with the kids. Like, I would.
But where would you be with that?
But without the training, I wouldn't have that positive impact on them. I probably wouldn't have the energy that I have to do that. I wouldn't be able to run around after them on their bikes as much as I can now. Do you know what I mean?
Literally, last weekend you did a 5k run with Marshall on his bike.
Yeah, it was class.
That's exactly where I want to go.
Yeah, it's brilliant. And the thought of not being able to do that, the thought, you know, I see parents out there, and you know, it's like, who can't do that because they haven't got the physical fitness to do it. And I just think, I feel like, it's just sad, you know. I feel bad for them because I'm like, you're missing out on all these potential things. But then I also feel bad in the children in that they don't get the same enjoyment and encouragement to live that lifestyle, you know. I mean, nowadays we're all so, and don't get me wrong, God, we're not perfect into this. Our kids watch TV and they have screen well, neither of them use an iPad yet or anything, but they watch telly.
I'm going to avoid that.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
humanly possible.
Yeah, you want to, but it serves a purpose, and you know, there's educational parts to it as well. So I'm not completely against screen time, but you know, you also want to balance that with a healthy dose of physical activity and getting out on bikes, getting out to the park, going for runs and doing these fun things that kids just love to do.
But at the same time, making that realistic. Yeah. So our big thing at the minute, and it's a big thing for us, it wouldn't be for someone else. Every weekend we make sure we've gone out for at least an hour's walk together as a family. Yeah. Nice. And that can be to the shops. It can be just walking the dog. But we make sure that every week, no matter how busy we are, that's done. Yeah. Nice. Big thing, we put a big thing up about steps the other week. I make sure that, yes, it means I'm out of the house for longer, but I do my best to walk to work and walk home. I'm in that position that I'm lucky that I can do that. Yeah. I know some people aren't, some people work further away, yada yada. But for me, it's how can I get the most out of my time without negatively impacting my family, but also getting in my fitness, getting in the smaller things that are going to help my fitness in the longer scheme. Like I said, like going for the little walks, etc. And I think it just makes a massive difference for me. Like especially before I started, I'd drive everywhere. Yeah. I used to literally work 2 minutes away and I'd drive there. Yeah. Just because I was like, I can't be asked. It's quicker. I'll be home quicker. I can be on the sofa quicker. Be in front of the telly quicker.
Funny, isn't it? The mindset shift that people have with like, actually, maybe I don't want to get home as quickly as I can so that I can just like slump on the sofa and have a beer or whatever. Like it's sometimes that's okay. Like there's no judgment there, but other times it's...
I remember I had that thought process the other week. I was like, I came in to do Saturday session in the morning, which is 8 o'clock start. I left the house at 20 to 7, ran in, which I've never done before, ran in, did my session, ran home. So I think that was like a 4K run, 40-minute session of high intensity work, and I got him. I was like, I wouldn't have done that 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Mental.
Yeah, it's a good shift. So you mentioned obviously IV and the journey around that. I mean, it's not something that I would often bring up with you and talk to you about because it just fucking breaks my heart. Excuse my French, but was terribly sad. And fair play to you guys for managing it the way you did and you know, moving forward with your lives together and stuff. Horrible thing, but. We're gonna try and do something positive. Tell everyone about that.
Yeah, so transparency as it is. I obviously said we lost Ivy. We lost Ivy at 38 weeks. She was due the week after, which was obviously horrible for us. But I'm able to talk about it right now because got a very supportive family that helped us all through it. But they aren't the only ones. We are doing the 3 Peaks in Aid of SANS, which is the Stillness and Neonatal Death Support Charity. I think I got that in one, actually. They were great. Like, there's stuff you don't think about when you go through something like that, and not that you're really thinking at all. Bereavement is a horrible period to be in. So we were told to come into the hospital after we found out. I packed everything for Tish. I was like, right, she needs me as much as possible. And then I went, shit, I haven't got anything. Literally packed nothing for myself. I packed a pair of pajamas that I wore for like 4 days, I'm pretty sure, and that was about it. They saw that straight away. Within an hour of us being there, I had, like, what do they call it? They called it like an emergency box, which had blanket, toothbrush, change t-shirt, blankets, literally everything I needed just to be there with her. Yeah. And I was like, I would never have thought of that. So, yes, it's a big thing for us. And I was thinking, right, what's a challenge we can do? I know that I wanted to do something that's going to be difficult for me. I knew it was going to be hard. Yeah. And I was like, right, what are we thinking? And then I thought about 3 Peaks. I was like, would they be up for it? Spoke to you and Tommy, and you were like, right, let's have it.
Well, we've been thinking about doing it for a while. Like, people have mentioned it along. Yeah, obviously, the guys here, they've done Killy and we've done Snowdon walks and stuff. And 3 Peaks is just something that people gravitate to. So we were like, it's been on our radar for a while to do. So it kind of gave us a prompt, didn't it, to be like, right, let's do it.
And now we've got a good cause that I feel
I
was really happy to do.
Absolutely.
And then it was great that you guys were so receptive to it as well. So, 15th of August.
Yes.
3 Mountains, 24 hours.
Yeah, we're going to give it a good go.
We're going to give it a hell of a go.
We've got a few people. I
think we're up to 10 now.
Are we? Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So we need
probably
to get
close to capacity, really, if we're thinking a minibus.
Yeah, unless we get 2.
Unless we get 2. There we go.
We've got
if anyone's listening who wants to be involved in that, there's a poster in the gym now with a QR code for the itinerary and also sponsor. We'll probably give it a bit more of a push on socials over the next few weeks, just because we are getting a little bit closer, aren't we? But yeah. If anyone if anyone's able to support us in that, it would be much appreciated. It would be great to raise some money for a very, very valuable cause, and one that's obviously very close to our hearts, but especially yours as well. So,
you're going to round us off?
I'm going to round us off. We always finish with a bit of... that'd be interesting for you, actually. The same question I ask...
Okay.
We'll do the quick fire.
Go on, we'll do what you want to do.
But we'll do the usual ending question. We've got a little quick fire round to do as well. So... the usual question I'll ask people who, this is usually to the clients. Whether I did it with a team or not, I can't remember. But the question is, what would your advice be to someone who is looking or thinking about making a change to their health and fitness? This doesn't need to be related to MEE-FIT. This isn't like a sales pitch. It's more about the benefits of overall physical activity and health and wellness. Like, what would your advice be to them? If they're a bit on the fence, should I do it? Shouldn't I do it? What would your message be? I'm just going to mirror
what I think I've heard probably like 200 times now whenever I ask someone is just give it a go. Like, I never thought I'd do it. I never thought I'd be lifting weights. I never thought I'd be able to chuck my body weight around. Like, that's insane to me. But the benefits that I've found along the journey were just as important as why I started in the first place. So having that confidence, you don't need to have the confidence in yourself straight away. You don't need to know what you're doing. That's kind of the point of places like this. Yeah. Just having that confidence enough to go, I want to do something. What can I do? Yeah. And that's where I found that the biggest change for me was I need to do something. It was an awareness that I needed to do something, and then a wanting to action that. So I feel like if you've got that, you go it to yourself just to give it a go.
Love it. Quick fire round.
Here we go, quick fire.
Favourite workout?
Deadlifts. I know you hate them.
Terrible.
My brain goes, big numbers makes me happy.
Well, that's fair. Least favourite exercise?
Bulgarian split squats.
Yeah, I can deal with that.
With passion.
We can
My knees are not strong.
Gym playlist. What do you go with?
You tell me off when I put my music on because it's too heavy. I am a metal guy. Yeah. So is Anne, which is probably where I get it from.
I don't mind it at times.
We have our little coaches one. We have like a bit of a heavier rock one, and then we all kind of get into that.
For the big strength.
For the big ones. Yeah. And then when the days that you just need to dig deep, it's always like the heavier the better for me.
Yeah. Post-workout meal.
Pancakes.
Pancakes?
I love
protein pancakes or just normal?
Well, in the habit now that I know it's protein pancakes, in my brain it would be like some gluten-free buttermilk pancakes that are covered in, oh god,
like syrup or Nutella?
No, I'm a bacon and maple guy.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Always loved it. Like, I know it's the American style, but love it.
Yeah.
Bacon and maple, smash that, and it's like if you get the right pancakes, that's like 60 grams of protein in one.
Yeah. Can be a good meal. Interesting one. Describe Coach M in one word.
Em, I put this one in on purpose. She's mental. No, without Em, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
And that's a fact. But yeah, she's mental.
Cool. Right. We'll finish up there. I think that's been that's covered off all the things we were hoping to discuss. So thank you for watching, everybody. That was episode 27 of the MEE-FIT podcast. What have we got coming up?
We have got a coach's piece for the next one, a little educational piece.
Probably need to have an introduction to Marcus as well, don't we?
That's on the cards. That's on the cards. We can either do that next or do it after. Whatever.
We'll see. To be determined. But yes, thank you very much for watching. As always, if you've enjoyed the podcast, be sure to comment or like or subscribe or just to
engage
with our podcast. And thank you very much for listening, and we will speak to you in the next episode. Thank you very much.